This episode is brought to you by Farm Bureau Financial Services, S.M.I.L.E Agency. If you're looking for an insurance agent with a personal touch, someone willing to have the real conversations about what's important to you, assistance with submitting claims, and offering quality coverage options, Farm Bureau Financial Services, S.M.I.L.E Agency may be the place for you. Whether you need home, auto, farm, commercial, life, or health insurance, we're here for you. Check us out at agentzachmiller.com. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agriculture Insurance Company.
Welcome to our special release episode for our Swearing is Caring event. We have Patty and Barb here from S.M.I.L.E Inc., who was one of our charities that got picked at the event. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
We're great because we're here, and I thank you much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We love to do it. So we were glad we were able to get that charity picked from the people that voted that night. So you want to kind of tee up kind of what's going on?
So this event, we kind of talked about it a lot on the useless assumptions thing. It's a Lent event that we do. This is the second year we've done it. And it started with my mom challenged me on a swear jar. That's the swear jar here, because I swear too much on my other podcast, apparently. And so she said, well, if you can't quit swearing, then you need to put money in a jar and challenge your listeners to also put money in a jar. And it kind of snowballed into raising a bunch of money. Last year, we started after Lent had already started, did this whole thing. And then throughout it, Zach actually is like, put together, he's like, hey, we just need to have an event. We did that last minute type of thing and ended up raising a little bit of money. That money we gave to
Northeast Community College Food Bank.
Yeah. And so we did the same thing this year, had a little bit more planning on it, obviously, and we had community buy-in, we had some great sponsors and everything, and then we raised some money, and now I think we were able to pick 2 this year from all of our listeners and people that came to the event and did all this, and you were one of the people that we chose to win.
That's pretty awesome.
So we're actually going to be able to give you guys $1,000 towards your guys' charity.
See, that's huge. That's what keeps programs like mine, and especially mine. It's volunteer work, but donors is what keeps it going, and then I can keep our fee very low. So that everyone can afford it, and that's why we can serve so many, is because of people like you and all the people that have supported S.M.I.L.E over the last 34 years through donations, volunteer work, and I'm always afraid I'm going to leave someone out, but it's just, yes. It's
over 34 years, you could never thank everybody because
thank you.
People walking.
Yes.
It's hard to remember stuff.
Yes,
like
but
that.
it's just many groups, and it just has kept growing, and you can just see where God has worked things out. And yes, we feel very blessed and to be here.
That's great. I didn't realize it was 34 years. That's really wild.
I didn't realize it was 34 years. That's a long time ago.
Can you guys tell us just a little bit about what S.M.I.L.E stands for and how the program began?
S.M.I.L.E stands for Stephanie's Miracles in Loving Equine. And that's where Barb comes in. We argue about this all the time, who said what. But her daughter, Stephanie, is the one that started the program. If it wasn't for Stephanie, there would be no program. But there again, when you live as long as I have, and the one advantage is you can look back and see how God has just placed things. And after Stephanie, she had spinal meningitis and then a stroke with that. And then one day Barb stopped by and we had the ponies out and we put Stephanie on one. She was probably like 5 or 6. Anyway, she just loved it. So I told Barb to bring her again. And then pretty soon we're just walking down the road. I'm leading the horse. Barb's holding Stephanie. And then Stephanie reaches down and touches the pony's neck. And Barb goes, look at that. And I go, yeah, she's petting her pony. No, you don't understand. She's never moved in the last 6 years, her arms on her own. So then I told Barb she should bring her more often. And we did. We set up a little thing in my backyard. and then pretty soon Stephanie was starting to say words and just sitting up tall and laughing. So S.M.I.L.E is what I thought we should call it, but then Barb said the S should stand for Stephanie, so she did the S part, and I had to come up with the rest.
Well, it flows well.
It
Well,
works.
yeah.
It works. It works
It's-
out really good, actually.
So yeah, like I said, if you can look back and then see how it was all put together, and then in '92 we opened it up for other riders with special needs. Barb says, well, Stephanie has a lot of friends that could use that. So then we had 9 students the first year, and then it doubled the next year, and then it doubled the next year, and then we had to just start adding and kept going, and then after 8 years moved across the road, and yes, it's
And
just
now it's a beautiful place.
How many students?
Yes.
How many students do you guys have?
well. I just dropped back to like about 75. We were averaging 100 the last 10 years or so, and a couple of times when the schools came out, it brought us up to like 135. But it's finding help and then good horses now. When I had my own horses, that was different, and then I could go find a $500 pony, train it myself, and away we go. Now you can't even find a $5,000 pony.
Right.
So, but again, God always works things out. So yes,
And it all started with Blackie, right?
yes, little Blackie. Yeah, one little pony, Blackie, yes. In our backyard was Stephanie. Yes.
Our stories differ a little bit on the beginning.
Really?
She'll tell a story like that, and then I'll go, Patty, that's not really how I remember it. But she said we stopped by. She begged me to come out. I'm not kidding you. She begged. And it was like, okay. We were pretty busy. Stephanie was 14 months old when she had the spinal meningitis and a stroke.
Oh, wow.
So she lost everything. I mean, she was not able to hold her head up. She was not able to smile. And Patty said, oh, this is the horse therapy is the best thing you can do. Come out. And so we did started coming out there then. And she did. She just sat up so much better on the horse than
And laughed.
and laughed
Yeah,
and
she just-
smiled.
She was so excited.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Patty said, I'd like to do this for other kids and other individuals. And I said, Patty, that's great. But I said, the ones that I know would benefit the most probably can't afford it. So what does Patty do? She says, okay. So she goes out and starts talking to, doing presentations to different companies and different organizations. And so she could subsidize everybody's, fees and stuff. So I said,
That's not exactly right.
I did notice there's a lot of community buy-in.
Yes.
So you guys have a lot of groups that come out and help.
There is now, yeah, but in the very beginning, we just kind of did it, and then I remember, I don't know if you got in on that we sold raffle tickets door to door until we raised $1,000. People did not like to see me coming.
They knew what was coming.
Yes, but that's how we have survived. And again, the blessings that keep coming and the people that come out, and just like you gentlemen, yeah, that's huge.
Why is it you think that the hands-on with the horses really does help quite a bit?
Well, see, that's the other thing. We thought we invented something new. We didn't know about there was this so-called horse therapy. I just saw what it did for Stephanie, and I've always had a horse, always knew that it would be enjoyable. But then all the therapies that come with it, I mean, the progress that others made, and it was so much fun to just see these kids light up and stuff. So it just, and now we found out later then this was started back in 1950 with a young Scandinavia girl that had polio, and then her, I think, physical therapist or something saw what it did for riding, and then it just grew from there. But no, we just started it.
When you'd have Stephanie come out, most of the time, I think she was bareback, wasn't she?
Yes.
To begin with. And so
Yeah.
the warmth of the horse and then the movement of the horse was against her body, and it just warmed up her muscles.
It's like a connection somehow that works.
yeah.
Right.
It's kind of
You're-
like grounding in the ground, like
Yeah.
people talk
Yeah.
about, like walking barefoot and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yes. There, and I didn't even realize it. I've always ridden a horse and a lot of when I started bareback, but your pelvis is moved the same as if you're walking when you're on a horse because
Oh,
of
really?
the gait.
I guess I
Yes.
never really
Okay.
noticed
Yeah.
that. And I've rode horses before. I never did
No,
that.
you don't. You don't.
I never really thought
But
that way.
there's so much. Yes, and then it's just the miracles that happen out there. You know, people go, "Well, how do you get them to do that?" And I go, I don't know. We just teach them how to ride the horse, and we put them on the horse or pony, and God does the rest. I mean, kids walk and talk, and then every year someone comes that, you know, you got 2 little girls come. They're in wheelchairs. They've gone through a trauma. They've totally blocked out everything, walking, talking. And by the end of the summer, they were standing up on one leg at least and brushing a horse, and then now they can go to school and they can go like half days and they're both walking and talking.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just about time. I think, you know, we've seen a lot and then the miracles just keep coming. So it's very much needed. The results are, you know, they're just phenomenal. There's no explanation. It and then like sometimes the physical therapists, they would come out with to see how a student was doing or something, and then we'd be brushing and they go, how do you get them to brush? And I go, well, they have to brush before they can ride. I mean, it's
Right.
so
Make them do a little bit of work to get the good stuff.
well,
too.
yes, they were challenged, and I think everybody likes to be challenged. But then when they and it might be just very little things like learning to say whoa or pull the reins, and it was a huge accomplishment. And I think that's what I enjoy. It's just those little accomplishments are really big to them. And then the parents are sitting over there, and just I'll never forget the first time they're sitting over there crying. It's like, what's the matter? And and then they go, we just never thought our child could sit up straight and maneuver a horse. And so I think then they started challenging them. So yes.
Those are great stories. And I noticed you guys do a wide ranging of disabilities for children. Some can ride independently. How do you tailor all those different sessions to each child?
When they come, I ask things. You got to match the horse and pony with the rider, and you know we have to maybe it's, you know, they come and you can tell, and each one is different. You know, none of our children come with manuals.
Right, right. Nor do the horses, right?
Especially
No.
the ones with disabilities.
Right,
Yes, yes. And there's nobody's alike. That's, you know, we're all different. That's how we were created, to do different things, I guess.
Well, and Stephanie, over the years, you know, has always ridden. She usually takes more people to hold her up because she doesn't have that much support herself. And it's gotten to the point where the last couple of years that her hips were hurting her too much. And Patty, really, I didn't even think about it hurting her on the horse, but it was. And so now she's doing better in that department, but she also just does ground therapy now. Is that what you call it?
Yeah,
Is-
something new, I guess. It's kind of neat because it's an outing for her, and besides, she's the S in S.M.I.L.E.
Right.
And so they come, and then and I've had a couple others do that they couldn't ride, but they wanted to, and I think other programs do. I don't know, but the petting and the brushing and the reaching. Sometimes I give Stephanie a hard time. I go, just because you're the S doesn't mean you can slough off. You still got to reach up there, but it's giving them what I've seen over the years, challenging them. They like that. They, you know, everybody always says, no, they can't do that. And I go, well, have you tried it? And yeah, they like a challenge. And then the results of being able to, even if they can, we just go to the end of the rope maybe, and then that they can drive by themselves or something. It's just the little things that keep, helping them along and challenging them. And then I think it goes back to home and school. Anyway, that's what the parents tell me that it does. So,
Well, that's great that you have different styles and different things you can do. That's really
right.
awesome.
We'd hang things up in the trees and all kinds of things. I always tell the parents, never call it therapy. That's all those kids hear, therapy. I said, they're coming for a riding lesson. They're going to learn how to ride a pony or a horse to the best of their ability. So sometimes we have them, instead of telling them to reach, and we just, okay, you need to get that blue ring. And it's all, the eye and hand coordination, all those. It's more fun. And that's like this. The two little girls that came, they tried PT and stuff, but they were inside of a room and stuff. And it was more like, they had to do it. Well, if you come out in the country and in the dirt and there's a horse in front of you, you don't even think about that. You
Right.
They have to
You're in
focus.
nature. You get the sun. you
Yes.
get-
Yes.
Yeah.
You're just out in the open, and everybody likes to be outside. We have trouble once in a while. Little boys, they like to play in the sand.
Right? Yeah, you can't stop that, can you?
No.
Do you have another memorable story, kind of like Stephanie's, like a success story that was quite unexpected, or that one of your favorites? Either one.
There's a success story behind everyone. I mean, sometimes it's a larger, just like those two little girls that come, but there's like one little boy, he was always just bending over, and the girls had to hold him, and now he's up pretty tall, but I guess there is the one just this last year. See, I've done this a long time. I
She
can't go back
remembers
too
Tough
far.
to
everything.
remember them all, yeah.
But he came at 18 months. 18 months is the youngest I've ever had. And then
18 months old.
yeah,
Wow.
the sooner the better. I just got to keep my ponies a little more slender sometimes. Otherwise, those little legs just go straight out. It's kind of so. But no, he wasn't using his legs, and he didn't talk. And then that first year and the second year, and then now this third year, the story is actually in the newsletter I just gave you, but he came walking with someone hanging on his hand. He was using his legs, and the whole time we was always using a bareback pad. So I told one of my granddaughters, I says, because they were helping hold him up, I said, I think he can sit in a saddle now, because we can't. And our saddles are treeless. They're like riding on a bareback pad, but you have the horn in the back. You're sitting. You're not sitting on that hard piece of wood
Yeah.
in there. And this is like just sitting on the horse bareback, so you feel that movement. But anyway, there he is, sitting up in the saddle, hanging on the horn. Nobody holding him. Otherwise, for 2 years, we held him on the side. So by the time he was 4, yes, and he should be able. And there was another little girl too. So it just takes a while, and sometimes they run off, and you just got to run after them. I don't. I let the young people do that now.
Probably a good thing.
Yes.
Patty probably thinks more of each individual person that's out there. What she might not see is what it does for the families.
Right.
Because you might have, we had 2 other children, and yeah, they're out doing other things. But Stephanie, she went to Norfolk Public School, and that year they started honoring. They would always have their athlete of the week, and then so Stephanie was athlete of the week.
Oh, that's really
That's
cool.
very
yeah,
cool.
yeah, and that was so. Everybody gets involved, and it really does help the families.
Yeah, keep spirits up, and
Yep.
and you kind of talked about how some of them gain their independence a little bit from doing this too, right?
Yes.
And that's coming in with brushing and all that kind
Right.
of stuff you guys are teaching. That's really
I think
neat
like
too.
all kids, they're gonna get out of any work they can. So, and I always say we
Hey,
don't.
we still do that.
I don't enjoy it. I ride horses, and my least favorite thing is brushing the horse. I get bored. I can't do it. It's like, no, don't want to do it. Mom, brush the horse. I'll ride later.
Yep. Yep. See, you were spoiled.
I was.
No, they realize then they get on and they can go. It's baby steps. It's just, and then there's some there. I have two girls that actually can lope and stuff. They can't go fast enough, but you have to have special people helping and special horses. Not every.
And
gotta
a
pay good
special
attention.
person behind it all,
Well,
too.
I don't. We won't go there.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will. It does take a special person.
I just love what I do. It's just always a joy. People go, "How long are you gonna do this?" And I go, "As long as I can." And I said, "As long as I enjoy it, as long as
But she needs the help. And
Yes,
that's huge. I think people maybe don't realize that one person just cannot do that by themselves.
Right.
And so there's a lot of volunteers needed for this, and that just is ongoing.
What's the? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say volunteers. When I first started, it was always volunteers, and including myself. And I'm pretty much volunteering now, but that's okay. But I rotated about 30 to 40 volunteers for the first, as it increased, probably when I moved across the road. But that's when I could go till 7 at night.
Now she's in bed by 6. So.
It was
we're keeping
difficult
you
when I
awake.
was talking to her. She's like, "Oh, I don't know about that time. Like, we need to go earlier." Vince, you know how old I am. I said, "You'll be fine."
In a few
Barb-
years, you guys are going to understand this
Yes.
a little bit more.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
wait. Just wait.
Barb, after this is all done, I'll probably relax, and Barb will have to drive me home.
I might.
So yeah, where was I?
We were just talking about
Volunteers.
volunteering.
Oh yes, so I
rotating
was
volunteers.
rotating like 40 some volunteers. They'd come after work, so I had to do I did a 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock, and a lot of people working. I look back; those were the good old days when
Yeah.
I could just go.
Well, and Stephanie really needed a lot of support. So she needed usually 2 people, 1 person on each side.
Yeah,
And
3.
then
See,
one
this is the
leading.
thing. Our riders, we might have 4 riders. This year I'm cutting it back to 3 riders because those 4 riders would need 9 people to 10 people. And I can have my 4 instructors. But yes, then the volunteers. But the volunteers are less, but the groups come out and they help us clean up. It all works. But yes, to think back that's people did work all day, and I go, why would you want to come out here after you work all day? They go, oh, this is like therapy for us, Patty. So yes, people came out, and
What does it take for somebody to become a volunteer?
they just have to listen to me.
And
Yeah.
a heart. They have to have a heart.
Heart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be.
And you do more than just that. Like, I did some volunteering back in the day with our 4-H clubs and stuff, but like
Yes, with the
we would come
that
like
new
do fence. We worked with your new building. We helped with your fencing in there and some other things. But I know you need stuff like that too, more than just the horses, like working on
Correct.
cleanups, and so anybody can come out and you'll find something for them to do, right?
Yes, I have
I
no problem.
Yeah. I know you did stuff like when I was in high school where you were required to have X amount of community service hours and stuff like that, and you work with that type of stuff, right? You'll sign off on.
Yes, that helped also. See, if you bring up my recall, then I remember. Yes, because you guys, I think, were maybe pushing dirt around in wheelbarrows.
Possibly.
Don't remember.
I think I've spent a few weekend days out there during
Okay,
the summers.
okay.
So no,
I don't keep track.
I got voluntold by my mom on a lot of things.
Oh,
so,
yes,
but
but
no,
see-
we did it happily. It was fun.
Yes,
I do remember doing, I think part of the fencing on the new building, I have vivid memories of that happening.
the white fence you helped
Yep.
put up.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that was like me,
yes.
our family. I think the Mays were involved in that. Like Mark May and them were. That was back when like mom and dad had their fencing business and stuff.
Well, yeah, that the ordering the white fence, and then the Knights of Columbus then helped with that. There's just over the years, it would not exist without all of that.
Yep.
It just
I was just saying, there's multiple things that people can come
Yes.
do. Like,
Yeah,
and
and
it's needed stuff.
Yes, and there's constant maintenance, and the weeds are guaranteed.
Do you want people to like call ahead of time, show up to help? What's the best
Call,
way?
please. Yes.
Call ahead of time?
Yes, because when we're doing lessons, yes.
Plus, then you can kind of delineate what you want them to do before they come out there.
Right, and it has to kind of be done like in the spring or fall, not during those summer lessons, but to help out. There's still things, they just need to call me, and then we'll work it out, a time and a schedule. And yes.
Perfect. And you said the program does run from May to September?
No, not May to August.
May to August.
It's
okay.
kind of, that's when I can get help, and that's when the kids are out of school.
Oh,
So,
right.
Yes, it kind of keeps getting shrunk a little.
Do they still have the Special Olympics?
No, they
horse
haven't
riding?
had that for
It used to be
5
they
years.
would be
years.
able to do the Special Olympics in equestrian, and that was really cool.
Oh, really?
They
And
would
we-
take
Yeah.
people would donate their different trophies. They might have been bowling trophies or whatever. So then they
Yes.
would make them into equestrian trophies. And so, yeah, we had 13 of these. We called them doorstops. They were really great.
Yeah, Stephanie, that
They were
was
really heavy ones, yeah.
Yes, that was
And then
in
medals.
Omaha.
Yeah.
At the Exarban, the first ones, and they gave 7-pound trophies, but then that ended. So then I just asked people for trophies and horse trophies, and a lot of parents were happy to get them out of the house. So, but trust me, those trophies, when those kids took them home, they sat out and they were polished, and yeah,
Very proud of them.
yes,
Good.
they were.
Makes a big difference.
Yes, to have that. I always thought the trophies seem, medals are fine also, but trophies are nice.
And I've noticed that sometimes people have a hard time, maybe even like with my daughter, like, what do I talk to her about? Well, you can bring up the S.M.I.L.E program, and you get that big smile. And so they, it's an icebreaker kind of, and people have a connection with it then.
That's good. Do you see this evolving anymore? Do you see whenever you decide to be done, is it something that could keep going? Is there?
Yes, because like I said, God has just brought too many things in and provided things, and the results, and now like there's more people doing it. I get phone calls all the time, like somebody wants to start a program. How do I do that? And I go, don't be scared. Just start with one horse and one student. Don't try to, set it up that you got 20 people coming at one time. No, the results, I mean, it's just, I knew it'd be good, but I never knew how good it would be. So,
I think 34 years is a pretty good run, right?
well, we're just getting started.
Right, exactly. I'm not
There's-
saying it's over. That's not what I meant.
Yes.
I just meant
It
34.
is, yes.
lot of
Well, and like
experience.
we did not. We just started out with one little black pony in my old house backyard, and a little pen, maybe 50 feet by
It wasn't too big.
40. I went to, I think Brad and I bought the first lumber to do that, some rough lumber, and then we needed, when it doubled, I had to make a spot, so that was fun. Any of you like on an old farm where the trees grow up and all the equipment and stuff? Yep, we had to clean that out, made a nice arena, but we had to, so I went to every lumber yard I could think of and begged for 2 16-foot boards and one post, and then people came out and put those in. There wasn't dollars.
Now, do you see what I'm talking about? Where
Mhm.
if doesn't know what to do, she does it. I mean, she
Right.
just comes up with it.
Sometimes you
There's-
have. That's what
You
you have
do.
to do, right?
There's-
Two
yeah.
16
I've-
boards at a
I've-
time,
I've learned to ask. That was the hardest thing, but
And where you're at now, that is on a corner, like for that a pivot doesn't hit.
oh yeah. See, I always say we produce the most. We produce smiles because I get the 5 acres that the pivot doesn't touch type thing. So I always say, yep, we produce smiles.
That's good.
So yep.
You brought up not wanting to ask, or it's hard for you to ask.
Yeah,
things.
I always wanted to do everything myself. It's just like giving up the actual being there with the student, helping the student. That was hard. The last 5 years or so but for it to go on, I have to keep teaching it and to others. And yes, and it is amazing the young ladies that have come out and they've gone on to maybe in special ed or they're in PT. And so seeing what now I see more what it's done for the people that come out also in their careers. It'd just be nice if they'd come back. But the thing is, it's just a summer program and
And you never know; they might come back in the form of a donation support that way too.
well,
Right.
yes, I just don't worry about it try to. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so true. I'm not
worry,
kidding you.
worry less,
She
pray
would
more.
come and say, "Well, we need to do this. We need to get these saddles. We need to do this." She goes, "I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how we're going to do it." And then she'd come back. She goes, "Barb, you're not going to believe this.
Just
Somebody
haven't.
stepped up and they're paying for the fence, or they're coming to put the fence
Yes,
in." And
yeah,
That's great.
it is. It goes on and on.
The way you said that, we had a hard time asking for things for the event that we even threw. We just don't like going and
I know,
asking
it's
for stuff.
hard.
Exactly. Yes, it is. But people, someone told me once when because I always felt like, how do I pay people back? They come and they do all this, and somebody told me once in that stayed in my mind. You like helping people. I go, yeah. Well, so do we. So yes, you have to
It's such a great
let people.
feeling.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
the
It makes
people
people
in
feel good.
Northeast Nebraska are just so giving. There's so many out there. One thing I learned, I used to work at the Y and actually still teach a class there, but there's a lot of people that have done well for themselves. Okay, good, great. But then there's people that have done well and give back to their community. And those are the ones that I've always respected. And those are the ones that come through for Patty.
Right. Well, I can tell you, I
Yes.
plan to come help out. I think it's
Sign him up
Bring the
right
kids out. Bring the wife out.
That was kind of part of what Zach and I talked about is on top of being able to give this money is we would be willing to try to donate a day of our time as a podcast group and try to get some of our listeners, if we can put some together and find a day
That
to
would be awesome.
come
See,
do some
yes, yes.
So we would
Yep.
like to offer that.
I
Yeah.
don't
I know he's got a couple kids that need to get their fingernails dirty. So
They do.
guarantee.
And that's something that those kids will always remember.
Yep.
When you do family things, it's experiences
Yes, and
that
there
they
is.
remember.
Yeah. And the nice thing is now the schools require so many community hours, and yes, and then sometimes there I find good helpers and stuff. Even our young people are so busy anymore is the hard thing. But again, it works out.
They might be busy, but there's always time to volunteer,
That's right.
in my
That's
opinion.
wonderful. Yes, and as a grandparent, when you can install that in your children, I think that's huge.
Giving
yes.
back.
Yes, it is. That's what we all
I like to
need
talk about
to
it.
do.
A lot of times it's a selfish, like sometimes I feel selfish, like volunteering or whatever, because you do get to feel good. Like it
Yes.
does make you feel good.
Yeah,
I don't.
there's
If anybody doesn't like volunteering, you're not doing it right.
That's right.
Like
yeah.
I don't.
and
it's-
sometimes it does take an effort to,
Yeah.
you think, oh yeah, I would maybe like that. And then, but sometimes you have to force yourself to do it, but it will pay
once
off.
you're done, it's worth every bit
It's
of
worth
it, I think.
everything. Yeah.
So
Right, and you don't have to have credentials. You just need to show up.
Right. Plus, I think just seeing the smile on the kids' faces would be enough.
Yes,
For me, anyway.
Yes, it is. And then when you can work a whole summer on someone just turning the pony, you walk backwards in front of them, and then all of a sudden you say turn, and they turn, and it's just like, whoa,
Right.
I can understand now how teachers can go to the classroom every day and hope that, the student is going to,
When they finally see the light bulb kick on.
yes.
Yeah.
No, there's just a lot of good people out there and young people, but everybody always focuses on the negative. But there's
That is kind of a problem with society right now.
Mhm.
A lot of negative focus instead of focusing on the positives.
correct. Yes.
Is there any other stories or anything else you guys want to get out about S.M.I.L.E. Inc. itself? Or anything that we missed, maybe? How long are sessions?
An hour.
An hour? Okay. And how much is it? 20?
It's 20. If you prepay, then it figures out maybe $17 per session. It was, yes, about that, but 20, and it's costing, with everybody's help and whatnot, still probably about $65 to
Oh, wow.
S.M.I.L.E. But the donations, that's what I mean. And if there is someone that absolutely cannot afford it, we don't turn them away. So this is why we have so many and so many. The success of it, and I've never really advertised. It's always word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That just wasn't even in my mind when I started. I thought if I had got 20 writers, maybe that would be a lot.
It was a success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is one. When we were at Old Smile, yet there was a gentleman that had a stroke at 47, and he was a farmer, but there was 10 and 12 farmers in my neighborhood, and they all took turns on that day to come because it took 4 of them to hold him up. And then after about a year, he was able to just have 2. And then pretty soon his wife could feed him at the nursing home because he could hold his head up. And he knew then I didn't have a nice area to ride or anything. We just went along the bean field and stuff, and then we picked beans for him, and he knew what those were and things like that. And the farmers, the neighborhood, I ask him every once in a while about that. But no, it's just God provided when somebody needed help. And then I got better at asking, I guess.
Could somebody, if they wanted to, donate just for somebody to get lessons? Is that something that could be done too?
That happens
Okay.
a lot. There's, yes.
Just trying to see what else we can push out to make sure people will know about to donate. Get more money, get more money your way.
You have a website.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, well, so the website is www.smilehorsetherapy.org. Correct? That's the website there.
Yes.
Okay.
There is a Facebook, but I don't do much on there anymore. Yeah, that's Stephanie.
Yeah, I know. So I know I didn't quite
Yeah.
recognize her with the helmet on.
Yeah, and Leanne. Yeah,
When she first started this place, the pictures you see on the website there with all the white fence and stuff, and I'm
that's
a
some of the
landscaper.
fence you put.
And so she ended up, she said, I want it to look like a Kentucky ranch.
You did pretty good. It looks.
Well, I've always wanted to visit Kentucky, and I finally did a few years back. But with the
There
white
she
fence
is.
and the green, it's like yes. And I wanted it a special place
And
over at Old Smile. I planted flowers all the way around the arena.
So you see the open arena, and then you've got the covered arena. So when the sun is so bad, they're able to go in there.
Yeah, but see, we just there's a mailbox. We have them do things, but they don't know they're stretching. And that's Stephanie there on the left.
Was it okay?
Yeah,
And
and
that
then Leanne, we always
Leanne,
say
they're
her,
good friends, and
her
they go
side
out
chick.
together.
Yeah, Leanne, I think, started 2 years after that.
It looks like a beautiful area.
It's
And that tack shed, you had some donors come through with that, didn't you? So they are able to,
yes.
the wheelchairs can roll right in it, and all the saddles
Oh,
and stuff.
really?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you probably need
See-
people to clean saddles too, don't you?
Yep. Every year that stuff all has to, yes.
So I'll repeat
It's
that. It's
beautiful.
www.smilehorsetherapy.org, and then they're at 54646 832nd Road, Madison, Nebraska, and the phone number is 402-675-8462 if you want to get out, volunteer, or donate to a great cause. Anything else you guys that we missed, or anything else you guys want to discuss?
No, I just want to thank everybody out there that's supported S.M.I.L.E over the last 34 years, and that they can see what it's doing for people from the very beginning, and those first volunteers that came and people that, yeah, it's just, it made S.M.I.L.E. But most of all, what one little girl did. I always give her a hard time. I says, if you hadn't started this program, but then, yeah, I always tell her we could be sitting having tea or something.
Yeah, everything's got to start somewhere, right?
Yes.
So it's good.
But
That's a great story you guys had, that how it all started, even though it's two separate stories, right?
Yeah. Every time we tell it, it's like she'd say one thing. I was like, no, Patty, you were the one that did it, pushed yourself, not me. I said it was needed, but you're the one that did it. And you say Stephanie started with, we started with Patty.
well, it started with Steph when she came by and she smiled.
There you go. There you go. Well, Barb and Patty, I really appreciate you guys coming on today and telling us about S.M.I.L.E Inc.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're very welcome. Thank you for what you gentlemen do, and to let people know we are there.
Well, we will. We'll let them know even more after this too. You might get a lot more phone calls coming in soon.
That's fine. I have just a landline. They'll have to leave me a message.
That's okay. I think people still know how to do that.
I
I'm
don't
not
know
sure,
if they
but
do
I think
or not.
they do. And then we'll make sure we get our podcast group out there, and we'll come out and help you guys out with whatever you guys need.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
That sounds wonderful.
Perfect. Well, thanks again for coming on, guys.
You're very
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you, gentlemen.